I will call the special city council meeting to order. This special meeting was advertised and posted for the said purpose on November 26, 2012, 6:30 p.m. There's just a couple specific items pertaining to electrical aggregation and the recent referendum that was approved. So we will begin with roll call of aldermen.
Heisler.
Here.
Kinsella.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Holt.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Rudowitz.
Here.
Carpenter.
Here.
Hart.
Here.
Silsby.
Here.
Hayden.
Here.
Seibert.
Here.
Martinson.
Here.
Elmore.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Musgrove.
Here.
Arlen.
Here. We did not require department heads to be present tonight. I'll note that Emily Foltz chose to be here. Certainly has an interest and has been helpful. Jamie Matron would have been the one I would have required, but she's excused with that new baby at home. In case you didn't hear, she had a 11-pound, 4-ounce baby boy. So he'll be at the next council meeting. With that said, we're going to go ahead and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. For those who've been here all 3 times, this is the third pledge tonight, but that's okay. Get it right. Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I did that a second. Okay, at this time, if you're here for I think you're all here because the same group that was here before, it said this. We're going to take action so that the council's decision that was put on the ballot November 6th about electrical aggregation, which was approved by the citizens, can now be moved forward so that we can get into the bidding process and actually start to hopefully see some savings on our power bills in the very near future. For the purpose of the minutes of this meeting, even though much has been discussed at the last 2 public hearings where questions were made, open to all of you, I am going to ask Philip Carr to come forward for the record and just give a brief explanation of what we're doing here tonight. We've got 2 resolutions in front of us, and the approval of these will move it forward to the next step will be the December 11th opening of the bid, correct? Philip, if you want to, anything from what you've heard tonight, anything you still feel you want to clarify, here's your opportunity to introduce yourself, who you're working for, and what we're about to engage in here.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, thank you for having me here tonight. So my name is Philip Carr, Business Development Director for Good Energy. What you have in front of you is the Plan of Operations Governance, which is a walkthrough, talk-through about how the bid's going to be run and also how the program's going to work. We've been talking tonight about a couple of the main considerations that the city will have on the bid day, which is December 11th, is the length of term you choose, whether it's going to be 12, 17, 24, 36-month term, whether you're going to go with a renewable, 100% renewable, 50% renewable, or traditional power option. On the bid day, this is going to be going out to bid with 5 of the largest power companies in the country, so possibly 6. And the reason, so the first thing you're doing is adopting the plan, how we're doing this. And you are adopting this document. One of the great advantages you have is that you're doing this second time round. Back in March 20th, on the primary, there was about 51 communities that already approved the referendum and signed on May the 8th this year. So our goal is to move as expeditiously as possible. The sooner we can get your residents on a new rate, the sooner they'll be saving money. The reason, so the first thing you're doing is you're adopting the plan of how this program is going to work. The second thing is the reason you need to adopt the pre-authorization to sign on the day of the bid is that large power companies do not hold low prices for very long without putting margin in there to manage the risk, because energy markets City Hall. And those bids will be held for about 2 hours max, so those pricing. So it's very important to get that pre-authorization in no time, so one can execute. Now, I think it's very important to emphasize that this is an automatic enrollment program. If you want to be part of the new program, you should do nothing. The winning supplier will send out a letter to all the residents and small commercial customers in Belleville, giving you an opportunity to opt out of the program. In that letter, it will explain the savings. Ameren will give you a second opportunity to opt out of the program. And if for whatever reason there are residents who missed the opt-out period, they're away visiting relatives, whatever it might be, to get back, and they decide they don't want to be in the program, they can get out of it at no fee. Okay? The spirit of the program is everybody gets to where they want to get to. Right? Once the dust settles, a few months down the road, there is a $25 early termination fee. Okay? Which is really designed to catch the people who like to bounce around. Because the reality is that when you have 200,000 households going out to bid, a single household gets the same purchasing power as U.S. Steel, pretty much. And that's what makes this such a successful program. So we don't expect that many people jumping out of the program. There is a price match guarantee in the program if for whatever reason Ameren's rates, which reset 12 months out, late May, early June every year, should read if you go for it. You don't expect that to happen in June next year, but if you went for a 36-month term and in 2015 those rates reset below the rate of your contract, then the winning supplier reserves the right to match Ameren's new lower rate, or everybody goes back to Ameren as no charge. Okay, that's an important price match that we have in the contract. So this really is designed to manage everybody's risk. We put the early termination fee in to keep the price down. We put the price match guarantee in because we think it's important. Raises your price a bit, but the bottom line is you're part of a large buying group. That buying group is an informal aggregation community, so it's 59 or 60 of you all being out to bid together. Obviously, Belleville is one of the biggest, it's the second biggest, after Decatur. And the most important thing is to realize that you can do whatever you want as a city. You know, if you want to go 36 and everybody else goes 12, it doesn't matter. Okay? There'll be one winning supply on the bid day. You can choose whichever length of term, whichever mix of energy you choose. Okay? And different questions you may have.
I'll open it up to the citizens first. Does anyone have a question that they hadn't thought of before? Most of you were here before the public hearings. Or thought of, yes, sir. Come forward, please. Need to state your name and address just for the record. Now we're official.
Jim Chatterton, 1440 Wabash Avenue. Question for you. Does Ameren now have traditional and green mixed in with their power supply?
What you're getting right now, traditional power is, I call it traditional, not brown power, but traditional power, it's the renewable portfolio standard required by the state of Illinois, which is about 7 to 8% renewable power in there right now. That's what every supplier has to provide by state law.
The other thing, I've come to all these meetings on this power, and I didn't know if I was for or against it the last time I said I was for it. But we've always been talking about the lowest possible rate. And now tonight we're talking about 50% green, 100% green. You know, each one of those gets away from the lowest rate, which is what we were pushing at the beginning.
And I think we're still definitely, as we said here, if we can go green, and I think this is the council may have to set a limit by next, a guideline for us when we go to this meeting. You know, if it's no greater than 0.5% or whatever we so decide, I think we got a little research, a little time yet, we got a few days. I think we might want to, but I think your point is well taken. We continue to say we want to get the best price we can for the citizens. I do believe that like a lot of cities around here now, are starting to really work towards the renewable energy. And as a region, I think for us to be a part of that is probably a good, sensible thing to do. And I think probably long-term is the right thing to do. But once again, I think we said it here tonight earlier, if for some reason we see this to be a % or 2 difference, I think that's a deal breaker. So we may have to decide, at what point we're going to cut that off. But I think it's still my, I guess, from what I've heard and what I've learned and what I've been listening to, I think, it behooves the city to try to be a part of continuing to go in the direction of the renewable, the green, if it doesn't cost us, something significantly in a savings.
Right, but instead of jumping in the green possibly right now, maybe we should go with the cheapest way for the first 2 years and see how green comes along. I mean, they should come down to meet us. We shouldn't have to go up to meet them.
Well, certainly it's a changing environment, and I think it's going to get better over time. And we're probably talking about we're probably talking, listening to what I'm hearing from other cities, the 17-month initial commitment might be what we're going with, as listening to the other cities where the majority of them are looking. And we're learning in this, so it's not a tremendous, I think we're going to learn a lot in the first round. And yes, we may want to adjust as we go into a second round of commitment.
So maybe the first phase is a learning part.
Well, it's all learning, I agree. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Bob White, 2419 Pro Tour Drive. I have a question basically about deliverable electricity when it comes to us as we approve this bid. No matter what we decide here tonight on percentage of green fuels or green power that we're going to use, how much will green power be actually delivered to the customer?
With all due respect, sir, I'm not the renewable energy expert in my company, so I can get someone to follow up beyond that. Suffice to say that the way it works is whether you're a wind farm in Texas or a solar panel in California, they issue renewable energy certificates, and those are used to essentially offset the power.
I understand that part of it, but what I'm getting at is, right now, instead of going to the green part of it, we should maybe consider waiting until there is green power actually available to the people, instead of just using like a credit for it. That was my only point.
Okay, well taken. Anyone else? Tonight, we're going to vote in just a few moments on the resolutions that we have to do to put into place to move forward. I would suggest that, any heartfelt concerns one way or the other, if we have to, if there's really a strong feeling one way or the other about a limit or about moving, cautiously or whatever, and we would have to make that decision as far as the green energy by the 3rd, by the meeting on the 3rd of December.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I thought it would be worth just pointing out just what's taken place before on the green side of things. So for some context. Last time when the bid results came out on bid day, on May the 8th, the green, 100% green was 4.08 cents. Okay? And the traditional power option was 4.01 cents. And there was a couple of communities that took a view similar to yourself. Some were about 70% went 100% renewable, about 75% and 30% went traditional. And some of the communities went with a similar approach to yourself, Mayor, of, if the price differential is not significant, we'll go green. Because obviously prime is savings. And I think it's working out whether that's a 2% difference or whatever it is. But the point is, it's a common approach to take. And obviously, if the green is going to be far, I'm just telling you that the spread's going to be small. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you that right now, because it's such a bid that the spread is going to be small. But just wanted to let you know what happened last night.
Okay. Alderman Hart, you were first. You next.
So what, with that spread in mind, 4.01 to 4.08, what could the average individual resident experience in savings using one from the other?
Right, so within the context of that bid, the savings were 28% of electric supply over the course of a year. And so about $180 to $200 overall, and the cost of the green in that maybe $70.
Alderman Schneider.
I have two questions. If the savings start from January to February bills, we were talking about in previous meetings, when will the opt-out letters come with the bids being December 11th? So will they still come in through December? By the beginning of January, we should have them?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, we're pushing hard. We get the suppliers to get those opt-out as quickly as possible. So we want them out.
So they'll be coming out right after we come back from getting the bids and approving the bids?
Cheryl,
Yeah.
after we sign it, they'll be ready to
I'll
start.
tell you what, that supplier, the afternoon that the bid goes down, they're going to be very busy. They get straight on it. They ain't got time to hang around.
You probably, 4 or 5 days after the bid opening, could be seeing letters in the mail.
I would say 10.
Okay.
To be, you know, just,
I forgot we got the Christmas mail.
but yeah, but I'd say that 10 days is expected.
Next question.
Yes. According to the green and the traditional, if it's that difference, what he said, 4.08, 4.01, but how do we justify to the people if you choose green over traditional? Because we're going out for the lowest.
We said lowest, most responsible, and like I said, I think we need to decide. We can put this on the agenda for a final decision on Monday night, and if you want to vote it and say no to green this first time, then that's a vote. If you propose that to put on the agenda, we just need to have it by noon on Thursday.
How,
9 o'clock on
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Can I-
Soon.
make a suggestion tonight to put it on the agenda so that it's on there?
We can't vote on that. You can make a suggestion. If some of you want to talk to the clerk and you want to, we'll get your thoughts together so we have the.
Well, I think it should be a vote where we have a set amount, what you should choose as far as the difference between green and traditional.
Okay. I think, if you're willing to do that within 1%, or something like that, or whatever 2% or whatever, somewhere in there, and you come up with that type, that's fine. We can try that the first time. I think we ought to consider it. But I think we ought to, once again, the purpose is having the lowest, most responsible bidder. Okay? Who else has questions? Yes, ma'am.
I do. We also talked about there are different terms that are available. And
Well, what I would suggest, if you're going to put that into a motion, I would suggest giving us that day the option of probably choosing a 17-month or 24-month framework of time. And I would like to have that flexibility that day with all the other cities to see what, after we see what's presented that day at the bid opening, to have that flexibility. So if that wants to be put into a motion to recommend that we either go with the 17-month, which sounds like is something new I hadn't really heard about, or the 24-month, would you say that's the best options?
I would say those are the most feasible options. I always slightly, I think it's good because the green is a different kind of decision concept. I slightly worry about limiting yourself from a term length, just because if someone tries to buy the group for 36 months, extremely unlikely. But I'm someone who likes to keep my options open, right?
Yeah,
So I think it's extremely likely. The consensus, it's an informal group for consensus bills. And 17 months, there is a consensus. 24 months is a great length term. But I mean, just talking personally.
But if we get there that day, Mrs. Fields and I, with other mayors and officials who represent 22 other cities, is that what you say, Phil?
Yes, in the metro region.
And I think, we're going to listen to and have feedback and dialogue with them. I think we're going to, based on the information presented that day and what what information we learn between tonight or you know, whatever, and that date, December 11th, I think we're gonna, you know, I would hope that you trust that we make the best decision that the whole group is basically leaning towards. I think there's once again some benefit in having the figures of what are the, you know, the time frame what other cities are doing too.
Okay, and it wasn't my intention to tie your hands. I think it's best if you do go with some kind of general idea of what the council is interested, but not tie your hands. But I'm interested in how often, did I hear you say when the bids are opened at noon, they're good for 2 hours? So is this something that is very much market driven, that it changes
Oh, absolutely.
momentarily?
Yeah, you're going out in the market and buying an enormous amount of power, which is why you get these wholesale prices.
For us who are totally ignorant about this, how often is Ameren changing the line rate? I
Every
mean, I get a bill, is it
Every
changing?
12 months you get summer and non-summer rates, but the rates 12 months out are reset every late May, early June.
Okay, so in some way, are they also speculating and just trying to lock in?
No, they're not. Speculating. No, I mean, essentially the Illinois Power Authority is a non-profit organization,
Okay,
which has a strategy for managing the risk of the power users in the country. Now, Ameren is in many ways sort of resetting that market, resetting that power off, which is why Ameren really, it's no bonus to them whether you're with them or not, because they're making money on the generation aspect. They're a delivery company, right? So, I could go, I don't want to go on too long about that, but yeah.
Mike?
It's just like dealing in futures options.
Um,
RMI.
yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, but, but let's be quite clear, you're getting one fixed rate. Okay, we're not talking floating rates, we're not talking derivatives, we're not talking anything clever. There is one rate. On the day of the bid, the mayor will be signing, his name will be next to a price that will not change, period, for 17 months or 2 years, or whatever he decides. Okay, that price ain't gonna change.
Alderman.
Yes, Mr. Karkin, would it be possible for you to provide us in writing some of the answers to the questions of the green and traditional that have been put forth this evening, as well as the pros and cons of the 17 and 24, and why you're arguing, you know, why we should not lock ourselves in? Provide it to the mayor and the city clerk, and then, Your Honor, getting that information, I would like to request that we have on the December 3rd agenda to make an ultimate decision on where we want to go with the green and where we want to go with the time frame. Because I don't think really those are two questions we were looking to answer tonight.
Well, we knew that we were going to have these discussions. I mean, I didn't know that we would make, because it wasn't on the agenda, I knew we wouldn't answer it tonight. I knew we were going to have discussions.
I think there should be a formal vote, though.
But with the range, I think what we're saying, if there's a vote that has a range, I think that's okay. But I would hope that we have some flexibility when we go there to have a little latitude to do the business with the group.
Well, and I'm open to it, but I think we should.
Well, I think Philip and I and Emily will have a conversation tomorrow. Emily's going to fill in Jamie's absence. And maybe we get on the phone tomorrow, Phillips, or I don't know if you're in the area yet or whatever.
I'm here.
Okay, so we can maybe talk tomorrow at some point, and then we'll send something out and talk about what we're going to potentially put on the agenda for. We got to get it farmed up. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We got to get it farmed up by Wednesday morning. So, okay.
My final question is for the city attorney. I'm still back, Your Honor, because if I'm not mistaken, this Committee for Municipal Electricity Choice thing is part of this resolution 3121. And earlier during the public portion, or public hearing, Mr. Flynn, it was stated that they would, Ameren would have to meet or price match down the road any rate if they if Ameren went lower than the current price, the company that we bid with would have to meet that,
Right.
okay? My concern is, under the termination of services clause, which to me that was the most important one of any of the termination clauses, at least for the public point of view, that is not in there.
It's in the contract, and we can show you sample contracts from, maybe that's the best way to do this, is I can share a sample contract that's been used before, and also.
We're not approving the contract.
I'm just telling what I can do.
Well,
to
in
expedite the
essence,
process.
you're authorizing me to execute the contract here, right, Mike?
If they pass the vote.
If they pass the vote. Okay?
But we've not seen the contract.
Well, normally the contracts go out 5 days before the bid. That's the way this works. So 5 days before the bid, the contracts from all the bidding suppliers will go to the attorney, and that's how this works.
So Mike will see along about the 5th or 6th.
So he'll get 30, he'll get, if there are 6 bidders, there'll be 6 different contracts, which will go to the attorney.
I'm going to ask the legal question to the attorney. I think that some type of language like that should be in this document that we are approving
It's
as
not
part of the
from
resolution.
one perspective, it's whatever works for you.
If the attorney doesn't agree, then that's fine, but
I'm sorry, what were you saying? You were both talking.
So, I voted.
No, I was asking, what were you saying?
Oh, I was saying, what's important is you have a document that you're comfortable with as a city. Okay, so, you know, we crafted that document fairly carefully and we've actioned, you know, 60 communities based on that document. Now, but what is very important is that you're comfortable with what you're doing. So I defer to your attorney to decide.
have any, but none of them's run in that situation yet, have they? So you wouldn't run in that situation?
No, I'm saying I haven't been asked this question before about this, that's all.
Is it possible for you to make sure that phrase is in the contract that comes?
Yeah, definitely, we have a paragraph that is inserted in the contract about the price match guarantee.
So if you can get that to us, we can share with them a
Absolutely.
sample. If you can get
Yeah.
that, then I can share with them for the people.
I can send it to you tomorrow morning.
That's fine. So we'll share that, okay? We'll show it to Mike, and we'll share it with you.
Just as long as we got something to protect us.
Okay. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Carr, this is about the bidding process. Since Ameren is only at 7-8% is mandatory for renewable energy, do you think that if some of these cities are going renewable, I think that's going to force Ameren to compete with other energy suppliers in the future? You think it's going to force them to become more renewable based?
That's a good question. I'm
It's kind of
afraid I can't answer that because I'd be sort of hypothesizing on what Ameren may or may not do. But just remember that, you know, Ameren's generation assets in Illinois are deregulated, right? So the power is constant. So I'm afraid I couldn't answer that question.
But Ameren's going to be competing with other energy suppliers during this bidding process, right?
So the way it works is Ameren itself is within Illinois because it's deregulated. Makes no money off the actual generation aspect of the bill. It is literally in Illinois. Ameren is a delivery company. It's like UPS or FedEx, and that's the way to think about it. The Illinois Power Authority is a non-profit organization that procures the power that Ameren essentially is reselling on to you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Carr, in reference to what Tim said too, I think in some of the preliminary meetings was stated that Ameren is more than happy just to be in the transmission service segment of the energy.
Well, that was different, partly why this time. The last time Ameren basically kind of, I don't want to say the word fought, but they opposed the other company that came forward because they were in competition, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not fully cognizant of exactly what happened last time, but the reality is, I think there was a whole lot of things at play there. But suffice to say that I can tell you, Ameren are extremely, technically neutral on this, but I'll tell you, they're extremely organized about this. Just, we handle about 75% of all the government aggregation business and currently active in the state, in Ameren. And we were the first people into office Indicator, where the government aggregation team is operating from. And, they're extremely organized, efficient, helpful. I don't know whether they're trying to compete with who's doing a better job between them and ComEd, but I would just say that Ameren is extremely efficient, organized, and helpful with this. So from their perspective, it's a program that's now part of what they're doing. So they're not competing in this at all. Ameren has a retail arm called Homefield Energy, and they won the first bid. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's just say, for example's sake, the mayor and clerk sign on for the 17-month program. It's only at the end of that 17 months that we could change to green or traditional or back and forth. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only time you can do is at the end of that contract.
Exactly. Whatever you decide, you're going to be set. Unless the price match guarantee kicks in because Ameren's rates reset, which is just extremely implausible given where we know they purchase power over the next 17 months to years. But yeah, nothing changes.
So Ameren is the only place that could change that within the contract, and that's because it'd be lower than what we're paying.
Yeah, which
And an extremely minuscule difference between green and traditional, green being more solid rate.
yeah.
That cannot change either, even if it would, if we're in traditional and it goes above 4.08.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're really getting down
We're
to
splitting hairs again.
I'm always respectful of every dollar counts, absolutely. But within the realm of every dollar counts, you're getting into the detail, you're getting into the groceries, lots of detail right there. Yeah. We're splitting hairs.
But green is more of a rate that we can count on more than traditional, is that correct?
What do you mean by rate?
That's staying at 4.08, it's gonna stay there for the 17 months.
The rate will stay. I mean, whether you go green or traditional, the rate's going to be fixed. It's not going to change. So whether it's, if green is 4.25 and traditional is 4.2, the rate's not going to change.
So we end of that contract, and then we can say, we want to go to the other direction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. I mean, one thing that, just the great thing about this law, and it's always good to remember that one is lucky here in this state that this law exists, and you have the highest differential between what you're paying to your local utility and what you can buy in the wholesale market. And you have this law, which means you can do this massive leverage purchasing power. You can't do that in most states. You don't have that differential. And that's not to say that you were paying much higher than all the other states before. Actually not. Other states, if they want what you do, it's just the difference between where the market is today and where the contracts were purchased by the other power authority are significant enough for you to realize real savings. And that's, and to be fair, also we can see government for jumping on board because, the best savings are going to be, in the first 2 years. The savings are here to use over time.
Okay, any other questions from the council? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to read by title only Resolution 3121 and 3122. Motion by Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Heisler. Questions or comments about reading by title only? All in favor of the motion to read these two resolutions by title only signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 3121, a resolution approving the City of Belleville Electricity Aggregation Program Plan of Operation and Governance.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Heisler. Discussion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Holt. Anderson.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
Martinson.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Schneider.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Arlen.
First resolution passes. Alderman Silsby?
Uh,
I'm sorry, you're going to read my title only, I'm sorry.
Right, resolution number 3122, a resolution authorizing execution of a service agreement with the lowest responsible bidder for the supply of electricity for residential and small commercial retail customers who do not opt out of such program.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Heisler to approve resolution 3122. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Holt. Anderson.
Aye.
Rudowitz.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Hart.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
Martinson.
Aye.
Elmore. Schneider.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Arlen.
Motion carries. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Meyer, second by Alderman Anderson. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I know we're adjourned, but I just say if any of you have in the audience have strong feelings about the renewable versus, or the green versus the, the traditional, your chance of public participation will be here on December 3rd. And in the meantime, we're going to continue to accept and gather information and try to better educate the council on that decision. Okay?